Welcome, everyone, to What's Hot in the Bookstore. I'm Megan Riley.
And I'm Rain Brooks. Great to be here.
Today, we're diving into a book that's already making serious waves, even before its official wide release feels fully settled in. It's the latest from, well, the master himself, John Grisham.
That's right. The
Yeah.
Widow, a novel. And honestly, anytime a new Grisham lands, it's an event.
Yeah.
But this one feels a bit different. The early buzz, the sales data we're seeing already, it suggests maybe he's consciously shifting gears a little.
And that's exactly what we want to unpack today. This isn't just a quick look. We're aiming for a really comprehensive preview. We'll get into the plot, of course, but also dig into those structural changes, the themes Grisham's exploring, how his own background connects to it all.
Yeah. And crucially, we'll look at the numbers. How's it ranking? What are readers saying?
Yeah.
We want you to finish listening and know, exactly why this book deserves a spot on your shelf.
Absolutely. And look, we think it's a must-read, plain and simple. So just a heads up, you'll find the link to grab your own copy of The Widow right there in the video description. Get it ready.
Okay, let's make the case. Where do we start? The core mystery, right? The setup for Simon Latch.
Yes, let's jump right in there. Because the setup is, well, it's classic Grisham in one sense, the legal world, but the type of lawyer is immediately striking. Meet Simon Latch.
Right. And Grisham makes it really clear, this isn't your high-powered big city attorney. Not at all.
No, Latch is a small-time lawyer. He's working out of rural Virginia. And the picture painted is one of struggle, you know?
Definitely. He's barely scraping by financially. His marriage is strained. Things are tight. He's vulnerable. And that's kind of the point, I think.
It makes the stakes feel immediately relatable, doesn't it? If this guy gets into trouble, he doesn't have this huge firm behind him, no safety net.
Exactly. A big D.C. lawyer has resources, PR, a whole legal team. Latch. He's pretty much on his own.
Yeah.
It makes him the perfect Grisham underdog, sort of thrown into these extraordinary circumstances.
It feels very deliberate. By making him isolated, Grisham really amps up that theme of institutional vulnerability. We'll probably talk more about that later, how it links to his other work.
For sure. Latch is just looking for a lifeline, something to stabilize his situation. He's not after fame or glory, just solvency.
And right on cue, opportunity, or what looks like opportunity, walks in the door. Eleanor Barnett.
Yes, the titular widow.
Yeah.
85 years old.
Yeah.
And she comes to Latch with a very unusual request.
She needs a new will drafted. Okay, standard enough. But the reason, that's where it gets interesting.
Right. She claims her late husband, who seemed, pretty ordinary on the surface, secretly left her an enormous fortune, like a life-changing amount of money.
And crucially, almost nobody knows about it. It's a secret fortune.
Mm-hmm. And you could just see the dollar signs flashing in Latch's eyes, right?
Yeah.
This could be the huge fee that solves all his problems.
But for the reader, especially a Grisham reader, alarm bells are just screaming.
Oh, yeah. Sudden secret wealth in a Grisham novel? That's never just good news. It's like a giant tripwire waiting to be stepped on. It attracts the absolute worst kind of attention.
So Latch starts digging into it, trying to figure out, okay, where did this money come from? Where is it? Why was it kept so quiet?
And this is where you really see Grisham's own background shining through. That accounting degree, his legal experience.
Yeah.
The way he described Latch trying to navigate the complex financial structures, the paper trails.
Yeah.
It feels completely authentic.
It's not just hand-waving about secret accounts. You get the sense of the actual complexity involved in hiding that much money. Latch is wading into territory way beyond his usual small-town practice.
Yeah, the initial challenge for him is intellectual finding the money.
Yeah.
But then the terror comes when he starts realizing why it was hidden and who might want it to stay hidden.
And things turn dark pretty fast, don't they? It doesn't stay a quiet probate case for long.
Not at all. The sources say the situation moves from, legal paperwork to actual danger very quickly. There's an immediate escalation.
First big red flag. An unexpected car accident. Eleanor Barnett ends up in the hospital.
Right. And maybe you could write it off as random, an elderly driver.
Yeah.
But given the context of this hidden fortune, it feels intentional, suspicious at the very least.
And then come the opponents, as the sources call them. Unidentified people start showing up, clearly trying to interfere.
Yeah, these aren't just rival lawyers filing motions. These feel like serious, shadowy figures, powerful, ruthless maybe. They want that fortune, and they're not playing by legal rules.
This is where Latch must realize he's completely out of his depth. The danger isn't just about losing the case, it's becoming, well, existential.
And then Grisham drops the bomb, the big twist. Simon Latch, the lawyer, just trying to help the widow. suddenly finds himself accused of murder.
Wow. Okay, so he goes from investigator to prime suspect.
Exactly. He's not prosecuting anything. He is the prosecution's target. The tables are completely turned. The system he works within is now potentially coming for him.
That just ramps up the stakes astronomically. He has to prove his own innocence.
Against evidence that, presumably, looks pretty damning. Evidence may be planted or manipulated by these same opponents.
It's such an effective hook, especially, as you said, thinking about Grisham's interest in the justice system's flaws. Putting a lawyer, an insider, in the position of the accused, that makes the threat feel terrifyingly real.
It mirrors those real-life cases of wrongful conviction he champions. If the system can be turned against someone like Latch, who understands it,
Right.
well, what chance does an ordinary person have?
So now his goal is survival, basically. Find the real killer, clear his name.
Right, but it's twofold. He can't just focus on his own defense. To find the killer, he has to keep digging into the widow's fortune, into the very secrets that made him a target in the first place.
Ah, so his legal defense and the original investigation become completely intertwined.
Perfectly put. The killer is hiding somewhere in that financial mystery. Every step he takes to defend himself legally is also a dangerous step deeper into the conspiracy the opposition wants buried.
That sounds like a really dynamic setup for the plot. It's not just waiting for a trial. He has to be proactive outside the formal system, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It forces him to rely on his wits, maybe sheer nerve, rather than just legal procedure. He's hunted, he's desperate.
And you're rooting for this underdog who just wanted to, pay his mortgage, and now he's fighting for his life against these powerful hidden forces.
That's the core promise, I think. Survival, driven by a desperate search for the truth about the money and the murder.
Okay, that's a really compelling plot setup. High stakes, personal, systemic. But you mentioned earlier this feels different. Let's get into that. The genre shift everyone's talking about.
Yeah, let's move into that now. Section 2. Why this Grisham novel stands out, the genre change, and the thematic depth it creates.
So the big takeaway from reviews seems to be less pure legal thriller, more, what was the word? Rätsel, a whodunit mystery.
Exactly. A Rätsel German for puzzle or mystery. While the legal stuff is still there, the threat of conviction hangs over. Latch, the main engine of the plot, feels different. It's less about the courtroom battle.
And more about figuring out who actually did it.
Precisely. In a lot of classic Grisham, like The Firm or The Pelican Brief, we, the readers, often kind of know who the bad guys are pretty early on. The tension comes from watching the hero navigate the system to expose them.
Right, you're fighting institutional cover-ups, trying to get the truth recognized.
Yeah. But here, with the Rätsel structure, Latch is in the dark. And so are we, the readers. We're solving the puzzle alongside him. Who killed who and why? It creates a different kind of suspense, the suspense of detection.
So Latch has to solve the mystery to save himself. That keeps it feeling fresh, you think, even for longtime fans.
I think so. It allows Grisham to use his legal expertise, which fans expect, but apply it to a different kind of narrative engine. Discovery, not just confrontation.
Okay, that makes sense. And connected to that, you mentioned the idea of plausible motives, that it avoids cheap shocks.
Yes, that's another key point reviewers are highlighting. The danger comes from very real, very human motivations. Greed, obviously, with that huge fortune. Power. Secrets buried deep. Broken trust.
It feels grounded then, not just, cartoon villains. The threat is more tangible because it stems from things we recognize.
Right. And there was that interesting phrase used to describe the characters simultaneously, marionettes and players.
Marionettes and players? How so?
Well, they're players in the sense that they're actively making choices, pursuing their own goals, driven by these plausible motives like greed, but they're also marionettes because they're being pulled and manipulated by the existence of this giant secret fortune. It's like the money itself is the puppet master.
Huh. So the fortune isn't just the prize, it's kind of the central destructive force pulling everyone into its orbit. Latch, the killers, the opponents.
Exactly. It adds this layer of complexity. It's not just a simple chase. And that psychological realism, that focus on believable motives, is crucial for a really good mystery. You're engaged not just by what happens, but why these characters are doing what they do.
Okay, so the reviews boiled this down to, 5 key reasons to read the book. Let's walk through those. They sound like a good summary of its value.
Sure. The first one is setting mastery.
Yeah.
Basically, Grisham is playing in his sandbox, the legal world, moral questions, human failings, but he's building a different kind of castle,
Yeah.
He infuses that familiar setting with this Genuine mystery structure.
So fans get the authenticity they expect, the moral weight, but the story feels new. He's using his established tools differently.
Precisely. Which leads to point 2. Rising tension. The plot is apparently structured for constant escalation. From the moment Latch takes the case, things just get progressively worse for him.
He goes from ordinary lawyer to man in an impossible situation very quickly.
Yeah. The book apparently doesn't let up. It keeps evolving, throwing twists and turns at you. Because it's a mystery, you're constantly guessing who's involved, what's the real goal here.
That sounds essential, especially if, as some reviews mention, the very beginning might feel a bit methodical setting up the mystery. The pace needs to pick up.
Right. And it seems like once Latch is accused, it shifts from setup to pure survival mode, which keeps you hooked, wondering how this unprepared guy can possibly get out of this.
Okay, third point.
Accessibility and depth. This seems like classic Grisham balance. The core setup, small-town lawyer, big danger is easy for anyone to grasp.
Yeah.
You don't need a law degree to feel the tension of being framed for murder.
But it's not superficial.
Apparently not. That's the depth part. For the dedicated fans, there's still enough complexity in the financial puzzle the legal maneuvering Latch has to attempt, the moral tightrope he walks. It satisfies on multiple levels.
Which ties into the fourth reason, substance over action. It's positioned as more than just a disposable thriller.
Yeah, it tackles bigger themes. The fragility of truth, how easily justice can be subverted, the corrupting influence of greed, the vulnerability of institutions. These are weighty ideas woven into the suspense.
It makes you think, doesn't it? If a lawyer like Latch can get swallowed by the system, what about anyone else? It connects back to his activism, perhaps.
Absolutely. It poses questions that stick with you after you finish the book. And the final point, number 5, is about character and morality.
Latch isn't just a perfect hero.
Seems not. He's desperate.
Yeah.
He saw this case as a way out, maybe blinded by the money he needed. He's flawed.
And the situation probably forces him into some gray areas.
That's the implication. To survive, to prove his innocence, he might have to make choices that push ethical boundaries, operate outside the system he's part of. It's a study in how desperation can force compromise.
Okay, so summing up this section. It's a thriller, yes, but with a strong mystery structure, grounded characters, real-world themes, and Grisham's signature legal authenticity, just applied in a slightly new way.
That seems to be the consensus. It hits a sweet spot, evolving his style while playing to his strengths. Thriller fans who want substance, Grisham fans looking for something fresh, even casual readers wanting a compelling story seem to be the target.
That really clarifies what the book is doing differently. But to really get the why, understanding Grisham himself seems important, especially with those themes of institutional betrayal. Let's pivot to that section 3. The man behind the story.
Good idea. Because Grisham's life experience isn't just trivia, it directly informs the kind of stories he tells, and arguably why he tells them. His fiction feels rooted in his reality.
So let's start with the basics. Born 1955, Jonesboro, Arkansas, grew up in modest circumstances, eventually settling in Mississippi. Does that background show up in his work?
Often, yeah. You see a lot of protagonists who are outsiders or underdogs fighting against established power, which might echo that perspective.
And his education is interesting, not straight into law yet.
Right. Yeah. No. First, he got a bachelor's in accounting from Mississippi State in '77. And we talked about this, but it's worth stressing again, especially for the widow. That understanding of finance, of how money moves and hides, it's not just research for him.
It allows him to build that central mystery around the secret fortune with real credibility. It feels like he actually knows how it could work.
Exactly. Then came the law degree from Ole Miss in '81. And he practiced for about a decade. Started in criminal defense.
Representing individuals, often vulnerable ones caught in the system?
Right. Then moved into civil litigation, dealing more with corporate disputes, institutional power plays. So he saw the legal world from multiple angles.
But he wasn't just a lawyer during that time. He was also in politics.
Yeah, simultaneously. He was a Democrat in the Mississippi House of Representatives from '83 to '90. Think about that unique perspective.
Wow. So he saw how laws were made, debated, maybe manipulated, and how they were applied and argued in court.
It gives him this incredible 360-degree view of power, law, and institutions. That's why his critiques of the system often feel so sharp and well-informed. He's seen it from inside, from both sides of the aisle, legislatively and judicially.
And the spark for writing itself came from a real case.
Yes, a very emotional criminal trial he observed back in '84. That experience, the The human drama and the weight of justice or injustice is what reportedly inspired him to write his first novel, A Time to Kill.
Which came out in '89, but the huge breakthrough was The Firm in '91.
Right, that just exploded. And since then, the numbers are just staggering. Over 50 consecutive #1 bestsellers, translations into dozens of languages, hundreds of millions sold worldwide. It's phenomenal.
But what's really striking is how he seems to weave his conscience into that commercial success. The themes he returns to again and again, systemic failures, moral compromises, abuse of power, they feel deeply connected to his own experiences.
And that connection becomes undeniable when you look at his activism. This is crucial. He's on the board of the Innocence Project.
Which famously uses DNA evidence to exonerate people who were wrongly convicted.
Exactly. Dealing with cases where science provides irrefutable proof that the system failed, often due to misconduct, bad evidence, things like that. He sees the devastating consequences of wrongful conviction up close.
And he's also involved with Centurion Ministries.
Yes, which also works to free the wrongly convicted, but often focuses on cases without DNA evidence, relying more on reinvestigation, challenging flawed testimony, systemic issues.
So he's engaged with fighting injustice on multiple fronts, through science and through tackling those more complex, human error-driven cases.
This isn't just a side hobby for him. This activism seems core to his worldview. And when you read The Widow and you see Simon Latch, a lawyer, framed, fighting against the system using potentially manipulated evidence, the parallels are hard to ignore.
It's like Latch's fictional plight is a reflection of the real-life struggles Grisham encounters every day through his advocacy. Latch is fighting for his own innocence, the way Grisham fights for others.
It adds this incredible layer of gravity, doesn't it? It suggests that the potential for institutional betrayal is so profound, it can even target insiders. If a lawyer like Latch isn't safe, who is?
That really lands the theme with force. It's not just a plot device. It feels like it comes from a place of deep conviction.
And it brings us back to The Widow. The shift to a whodunit isn't just a commercial move to stay fresh. It's perhaps a new way for him to explore these enduring concerns about justice, truth, and corruption. He's evolving his storytelling to keep tackling the issues that matter to him.
It shows he's not resting on his laurels. He's using his vast knowledge base to experiment, to keep the conversation relevant.
Definitely. The Widow seems like clear evidence of an author still deeply engaged with his craft and his core themes.
That context is powerful. Okay, we understand the plot, the genre shift, the author's background. Now let's get practical. How is the book actually doing? Let's look at the numbers and what readers are saying in Section 4.
Right, the critical and commercial reception. Because at the end of the day, potential buyers want to know, is it good? And are other people reading it?
So, starting with the big picture. The bestsellers rank. This is a major indicator. And the numbers are impressive. It's ranked number 8 overall in books.
Wow, number 8 overall. That's huge. That puts it in the top 10 across everything.
Yeah, it means it's breaking out beyond just the usual thriller audience. It's capturing broad interest right out of the gate.
And within its specific genres. Is it dominating that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's number 1 in suspense thrillers and number 1 in legal thrillers. So his core readership is definitely showing up.
No surprise there, but good confirmation. He still owns that space.
And interestingly, reflecting that genre blending we talked about, it's also ranking high in related categories. It's number 10 in spies and political thrillers.
Okay, so that confirms the crossover appeal. The mystery and potential conspiracy elements are pulling in readers from those adjacent genres too. That multi-category strength is a really good sign.
Now let's talk customer reviews. The overall score is strong. 4.5 out of 5 stars.
That's a great score. And how many reviews is that based on? Volume matters for reliability.
It's based on a lot. 5,774 reviews. So that 4.5 rating has real weight behind it. Thousands of readers are weighing in positively.
Okay, that's significant. What are they saying in the comments? What's the qualitative feedback like?
Really positive overall. Words like enthralling read, amazing storyline, full of drama and intrigue pop up a lot.
Sounds like the core story is landing well. What about the protagonist, Latch? Were people connecting with him?
Yes, definitely. He's frequently described as a strong main character with a compelling spirit. People seem to be rooting for the underdog, validating that choice to make him vulnerable.
That's great to hear. And the writing itself.
Praise there, too. Superb writing is mentioned. And one review specifically pointed out the simple, direct prose.
Ah, that direct style, which probably contributes to it feeling like a
page-turner, yeah. That phrase comes up, along with twists and turns throughout. The lean prose likely helps drive the pace once things get going.
That makes sense. In a story where the guy's running for his life, you want clarity and momentum. Keep the focus tight on the mystery and the survival stakes.
Okay, but we have to address the nuance because not everyone felt the pace was perfect from page one, right? There was some mixed feedback there.
Yes, and this relates directly back to that genre shift discussion. The pacing seems to be the main point of division, or at least varied experience.
How so? What are the two sides saying?
Well, some readers felt the beginning had a, quote, glacial pace, while others commented that it, quote, finally picks up speed. So you see that contrast.
Glacial pace sounds potentially worrying for readers used to instant action. Is that a major flaw, or is it part of the design?
I think it's likely part of the design, tied to the whodunit structure. If you're expecting the immediate courtroom fireworks or chase scenes of some earlier Grisham books, the initial careful setup of a complex mystery establishing the characters, the stakes, the layers of the financial secret might feel slow by comparison.
So you need that groundwork for the later payoff to make sense, to understand why the murder happens and why the cover-up is so intense.
Exactly. A good mystery needs that setup. You have to build the world, the relationships, the secrets before the explosion. Otherwise, the violence feels unmotivated, shallow. The book seems structured to reward that initial patience with high stakes and a complex resolution.
So the fact that people say it does pick up speed, dramatically even, suggests the first part is intentional stage setting for the main event, Latch's desperate fight after being accused.
That would be my interpretation. It's a feature of the chosen genre, not necessarily a bug in the writing.
Yeah.
Readers might just need to adjust expectations slightly. It's a methodical build to a thrilling payoff.
Okay, that's a really important piece of context for potential readers. Manage expectations on the initial pacing. Know that it serves the larger mystery.
Precisely. And just quickly, the logistical details for everyone. Publisher is Doubleday, publication date October 24th, 2025.
And it's a solid read at 416 pages. Definitely enough to sink your teeth into. And remember, again, that purchase link is waiting for you in the video description.
So let's try to wrap this all up, synthesizing everything we've discussed.
Yeah, what's the final takeaway on The Widow?
It really feels like a statement piece from Grisham. It shows an established master intentionally evolving. He's blending his signature strengths, the legal detail, the high stakes, the critique of corruption, with a classic whodunit structure.
It offers that procedural authenticity fans love, especially through Latch's vulnerable perspective, but marries it with the suspense and puzzle solving of a true mystery. It hooks you right from that initial meeting between Latch and the enigmatic Eleanor Barnett.
Our recommendation is pretty straightforward. If you're looking for suspense fiction that's intelligent, that moves fast once it hits its stride, and that actually makes you think, this is absolutely worth picking up.
The quality's there, the sales and reviews back it up, even with the pacing nuance we discussed. That top 10 overall rank speaks volumes. If you want to get lost in Latch's fight for truth and survival, hit that link in the description.
We really hope this deep dive has given you a thorough picture of what makes The Widow tick. Thanks so much for tuning in and exploring it with us.
Yes, thank you. We really enjoy digging into these books. Please join us again next time for another episode of What's Hot in the Bookstore, where we'll break down another must-read title.
Until then, happy reading, everyone.
And just one final thought to leave you with, something that really stuck with me from our discussion about Grisham's activism.
Yeah.
Think about it. If the justice system, as depicted in this novel, can be so readily manipulated to frame and potentially destroy a lawyer, someone who knows the system like Simon Latch, what does that truly imply about how fragile justice is for the ordinary person, the outsider, the very people Grisham works to help through the Innocence Project?
That's a chilling thought. That vulnerability, the idea that even insiders aren't safe from institutional betrayal, it definitely adds another layer of depth to Latch's struggle on every single page.
Something to keep in mind as you start reading. Thanks again, everyone, and goodbye for now.